A whole week away, and we finally return to the same thing we left off on.
Is it the evening, by the way?
It is sunset, yes.
Alright.
Yeah, I believe literally the last thing we did was... Yeah, we were pausing on whether we were going to fast forward to the next morning or not.
Yep. So, I'm going to pick up with a slight recap of exactly where you guys are standing, and then you guys can choose as a group whether you guys want to go back to the inn, take your night, and pick him up, or if you just like to go to picking him up. So, first, the first people that saw it were Erda and May. It is a capital command ship that is docking in Toboro. As it gets close enough that you can start, making out figures, probably a good time to start getting dressed. Erda going back into Rat. Before the guards start cat calling, certainly. As it goes down the shore, Tog, your inspiring words of the day have sent Cassie out on a journey to help the poor and hungry. Noble goal.
Yep.
Zephyr had a fun evening with a young lady named Jessica, and you brought her back to her friends instead of spending the night with her, which is also very, very good. No one lost karma points. That's important.
Oh no, the night's still young.
Yeah, it would be most accurate to say no one lost karma points. Yet.
But even before May is able to get back, because, the walk, unless you plan on sprinting alongside this boat will arrive at a point where everyone else can also see it. It is a capital command ship, completely decorated from head to toe in Navy SEALs, capital markings, luxury trade. It's a very, very big boat. This doesn't seem like the kind of boat that takes a triangular loop across the sea.
It doesn't also seem like a task force that would require a guide.
Well, like, you saw a fuckload of people on the boat. Considering we were contacted to be the escort, I imagine the detachment that will actually join the captain off boat is like at most a dozen guys, none of which are familiar with this area because I'm pretty sure in comparison to the capital, Kavzar itself is a podunk.
This ship is probably the size of the city.
I don't know about that, but yeah, no, it's a huge ship that I'm pretty sure is literally only here because the guard captain needs to be here, because the guy's getting killed here, because the guy is from here.
Yep.
I'm not even sure why they bothered to have him executed here rather than at the Capitol. Like, was it ever, at the very least out of character, was it ever established why the dude was, like, I know the dude wanted to be executed.
I'm thinking
that's
home? Because the remaining political standing that he had, his request was to get executed in his hometown.
Okay.
You guys were never specifically given a reason, but
no, we were given a reason.
Well,
I
if he wanted to die
the
in his
very beginning,
hometown.
it was said that like the dude wanted to be killed at home, so he was being killed at home, so being escorted from where he was to here. But knowing what we know now, it just seems weird that they would even bother honoring that request.
Which is fair.
Meh.
That was what I was going to say you guys didn't really get into, was investigating why. Because you guys didn't really take the route for that.
Yeah,
There's no one you've
didn't really get the
interacted with
chance.
that was given the opportunity to give you that kind of information, which is
Gee,
fine.
it's like you really shouldn't have thrown the fingers at us.
No, it's fine.
Oh,
It's not super prevalent. It just would have assisted in the current and information. But I kind of like that you guys don't know 100%. Hi, Nix. Gotta say hi.
it's Justin.
Yeah, I gotta
How
say
dare
hi.
you say hi to our friend?
I gotta. Anyway,
I saw that, but I thought it was actually shooty at first. But
this
being cheeky and using the gay rat instead of the part that they normally use, and in fact used, let's see, 58, so that's
Before-
like 15
before
minutes
the
ago
stream started,
exactly.
yep.
yeah. So, on the note, I think it is important to actually describe the ship before I allow you guys to make the decision of whether you want to just go to morning or plan for the night. So this ship has 4 levels. This ship is armed with a lot of guns. Not like actual guns, but like cannons. On
I
one
don't
side, you
know.
see at least 30 cannons.
Dwarves exist, and they have like cannons on
It
their
is a
walls.
4-mast ship. It has a quarters that's probably the size of 3 large inns stuck together. It is really not a standard ship. If anything, you could probably call this a full-on military vessel.
I mean, from what you said before, I was already under the assumption of it being a military vessel. I didn't think it could also qualify as their equivalent of a fucking cruise ship, though.
It does. Jesus. This ship does not actually dock itself until morning. It stays anchored in the harbor.
A
Kind of
ship that
looming over the
size could
city.
not physically dock itself in any kind of harbor that a
No,
podunk like
you are right.
Totoro would have.
You are right, but they don't make any attempt at like dock or discharge
I
people
would
either.
think that it would still be in deep harbor,
Yeah.
like deep shore, and just have like a couple of boats come to shore that are
Yes,
smaller.
that is what it would do.
Regardless,
It would have a boarding party. It wouldn't be able to actually dock because there's no way the dock here is deep enough.
either way, they do not tonight. As you guys regroup on the beach, nearby the, I'm going to say, the little martini shop or whatever. I didn't really give it a name, did I?
Nope.
All right, we're just going to call it the Drunk Blonde.
Ah,
Assuming that I left.
no. The dirty blonde. The dirty blonde. Sandy
Okay.
blonde? Sandy blonde.
Assuming that I left the place that I was relaxing.
I mean, you don't have to, but you're going to get catcalled if you stay.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. You stay. Erd is a rat. She's behind you hiding. As you know. Gardens.
Mhm.
Everyone else is at because that's where everyone else was.
Yep.
Excuse me.
So Zephyr and Hawk, you have a great view of this boat, and it kind of has everyone that is on the beach relaxing, just kind of staring at it. People seem to be genuinely uncomfortable.
I mean, it's a huge boat. Not surprised.
So regrouping, what do you want to do?
I forget. Had Zephyr and Dahak already regrouped, or were they still separate?
I mean, you guys were in like the same 10-minute
We
walk of
never
each other on
left
beach.
the area of the
Yeah.
beach. We were always in the same general
If I'm
area.
not
I don't
mistaken,
remember if
Dahak
if
was-
those two had actually physically seen each other and been like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?"
I'm
I
gonna say
believe the
yes.
Hawk was
Okay.
literally helping him like to a secured area because he was drunk.
No, he never got drunk. The girl got
No.
drunk as a skunk.
I thought he
No,
got drunk.
No, I was just taking her back to her friends.
Yes. Yeah, like I couldn't remember if in so doing you had come across the Hawk or not. I remember like the last relevant thing I remember happening was him noticing Tia's light interacting with that giant ass ship.
Wasn't really interacting with it, just it was in behind it.
That's an interaction. Anyway, the point being, Dylan answered the question. We are already together. So, that being the case, if he's still helping, like I thought the way it was left was you left your date with her friends, and they were going to take her home. But I guess that's up to you whether you want to help them home or not. If you do, then
They were going to take her home.
yeah, I know. So, do you want to leave them to their own devices, or do you want to help them? The Hawk would be cool with both.
I'll leave them to it.
Might be for the best.
Okay. Well, with that settled, drugs, I think we should find our other party members. I certainly wasn't expecting that. Points to the ship.
Neither was I.
I saw them go this way. I was going to join them, but for whatever reason. Actually, wait. How clear did May make why she didn't want Dahak joining her?
Didn't really.
She
It was
just
I
walked
kind
off.
of just walked away. I didn't really say anything. I didn't say like don't join us explicitly. Like I was just I'm just gonna go to a secluded part of the beach so I can sunbathe with my clothes off.
Okay. Yeah, I just remember like when you said you were going to go to a secluded part of the beach. Whether Dahak joined you or not was based on how clear she made it she wanted to be alone, or air quotes alone. I just couldn't remember if she specified why, and her saying she was going to be naked would have been enough. Anyway, that's the direction he go, and he start to look for you.
Zephyr, are you going with?
Yeah.
He's not giving Zephyr a choice. The point is to reconvene.
Okay. You drag him by his ear like a grandma, or
No.
then Zephyr has a choice.
I don't drag him by his ear like a grandma, but I don't let him not join me in finding May.
Yeah, I was gonna go with him anyway.
Okay. You guys walk down the beach for probably about 30 minutes before you finally start to come up on a small secluded spot, and you can make out a small figure resting in a pool. May, at this point, you can hear people coming behind you, and the ship's out of sight, so Urda's kind of reverted. She seems very shaken.
I look at her and ask her if she's ever seen anything like that before. I certainly haven't.
Once.
It is a terrifying piece of machinery.
That's the king's boat.
I look at her. The king? What? Why is the king here?
I don't know. But where there's a king, there's also a witch hunter. And the thought of that makes her visibly shake.
That makes me kind of still face her, but my eyes look over, like, look left in thought. Just, oh, nifty. Thinking about, the hidden messages and the wanted posters from only moments prior. Well, it's a good thing neither of us are witches. I kind of sink deeper into the pool.
Yep. I mean, that's not really their job, but, the witch hunters hunt down anything heretical. That includes warpstone.
Isn't that a good thing?
Yeah, it's a good thing.
It's not good for you.
I look over my shoulder. Do we want to make that canon? It's like it's
That's
not
you
good for
walking
you.
up.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on how much of the conversation I've overheard. Like, I didn't say that in a character voice because I assumed I heard none of this conversation.
I'm gonna say you heard none of it. You're just coming in now as they're kind of like rinking down into the water, like, yeah.
He just sort of does that cough, clearing his throat to announce that we're here, considering you're both naked.
No, I'm the only one who has moonbathed. Erda is kind of just like wearing her
Erda's a
undergarments,
rat
right?
now. She's naked.
All right. Yeah, I can get behind that then.
Okay.
I look up and kind of hide the privates and ask him like, why are you out over here? Like, what's going on?
You saw the ship, yes?
It passed by us, yeah. Apparently, it's the king's ship.
Oh,
The king's ship.
Nods as I slowly get up and go to my cloak that has all of my stuff on it.
while she's doing that, Zahak is processing that, blinks several times as many thoughts run through his head.
As I put my clothes on, I do say, and from Erda's intel, apparently, if the king's here, so isn't a witch hunter.
Do you suppose they might have caught wise to the Skaven's shenanigans? He does air quotes.
Wouldn't say for sure, but apparently they hunt anything heretical to the crown, which includes I pull out a warp bullet.
Don't forget about
Well, that's
Tarragon.
good. Though I suppose that means you should probably dispose of those and the gun itself immediately.
Hmm, I'll think about it.
Or
If you
perhaps
wish to be
disguise it
witch
better.
hunted, that's your prerogative.
Hmm. Who would
I,
be the one that's really hunting who here? Seeing as I have home field advantage and a gun.
I
The
could
witch hunter.
entertain this topic of conversation, or we could move towards more constructive lines, such as, do we even still want to assassinate this man with all of that gestures to the boat
I just stare at
going
Erda.
on?
Okay, I've committed some crimes, but not that many crimes. That's not for me.
I've only heard stories about witch hunters. If 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 one's here, then maybe the situation in Kavzar is worse than we thought.
It's only been a
The
couple of
situation
days.
in Kabzar is as bad as we thought it is.
It's only
The
been a couple
situation
of
outside
days.
of Kabzar sounds like it might be a bit better if those are here because of it.
It's only been a couple of days. They wouldn't have known anything that's happened in Kavsar because of the way and like the speed news travels in these lands. Don't
Yeah,
forget that like the entire
Right.
guard force in Kavsar was completely wiped out. So no
yeah,
word
no,
would
like
have
out of
reached them
character,
at all.
yes. Out of character, I know that, but like fucking bullshit machinations have been going on behind the scenes as we have become increasingly aware of. The Skaven aren't the only ones. Like, this is Warhammer. Everybody has bullshit behind the scenes machinations. Everybody.
My machinations are an enigma.
So that's what Dahak means. Anyway,
Well, I'm glad we're all familiar with what a witch hunter is. This makes my job a little easier.
I'm sorry, I can't tell. Was that in or out of character?
That was me out of character.
Okay. Um. Fuck. Sorry, gathering thoughts.
The rats have come to eat your head.
Meh.
So, do we want to change our plan of attack?
Okay, there we go. That's the thought I was trying to regather. That's a very good question. I was just trying to parse how to ask it.
It's your rodeo, Erda. It was your plan to do it.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm having second thoughts.
At the very least, we shouldn't rush into things. We should see how this evening and the next morning play out before doing that. Worst case scenario, we change up the tactic entirely, and instead of trying to assassinate the town, or not the town guard, the guard captain, we just go back to Kavzar hastily, find your husband, take him because the town guard there is fucking gone, and then leave.
With that thought, perhaps I could buy time then, because the quest and the expected route for them is that they're expecting a guide to greet them. I could literally lead them onto a long sidewinder pathway around the forest, or just lead them on a wild goose chase around the forest, get them lost, and buy you enough time to do whatever it is that you need to do to get him out.
Not a bad
Because
idea.
because like They aren't of this area, and with me being a respected guide here around Kavsar, they wouldn't be none the wiser of my deceit on the subject.
Honestly, you wouldn't even have to be that deceitful. You could just walk them through the woods, and since he specifically said he was interested in fishing, you could
True.
take them to a different remote hiding spot rather than the ambush one. Is there an even more out of the way place you could take them than where we were, or rather, you were planning the ambush?
It would be further north, close to Kavsar, so it would be a lot harder to lead them away from it if I did.
No, that's fine. I was just curious. Like, I know. Hold on, just processing out of character information. No, that was out of character.
Out of
I
character.
gather that the lake itself is out of the way, especially from Kavzar.
Yeah, but there's several footpaths and trails that lead to it that also join back towards other rural villages, including here in Tobro.
Fair. Either way, my point being, you don't have to take them on an extremely circuitous route. You can just take him to an even further spot on the lake. Just make sure he's fishing for multiple hours, and that should be more than enough time for us to find and free the prisoner, air quotes.
All right, I can see what I can do.
He
But
looks to Erda for her thoughts on that backup plan.
I'm all right with it.
you guys should probably leave now. I'm going to prepare to rendezvous with them, but I'm not going to actually like seek them out until tomorrow morning.
All the same, until we get back to town proper, in this case meaning Tobro,
Hmm.
I think the four of us should remain together. It'll make sure we all have the same bearings on the situation. Once we've gotten back to the inn, then you can decide how to best separate from us.
I
The
think
only wrench that the only wrench that might get thrown into this plan is if that witch hunter comes with them. If they figure out what you have planned, you'd be in trouble by yourself.
another wrench that I see is with all of this deceit and espionage. We've made it known that we're a group since going into Tobro.
If
The large man at the bar would be able to spot us or say or ask like, where are the rest of you when we rendezvous with the guard captain?
You give that tub of lard entirely too much credit. He is a
It may
drunkard.
be.
Even
It
if
may
he
be.
asks pertinent questions, they can be easily dismissed as him being a fat sack of drunken shit.
You know, never know though.
if a witch hunter detects heresy, he's liable to burn the whole town just for the sake of it. They are judge, jury,
If
and
some
executioner.
asshole from the capital decides to burn down the entire town because he catches a whiff of something, I would love to see how that dipshit reacts to Kavzar.
If he makes it there.
The Inquisitor would probably have a heart attack of a ratty nature. Also known as a literal rat burrowing into its chest.
Yes. Again, we've pre-planned here. my vote is before any of us splinter off to do our own thing. We all meet up back at the inn so that we can see what's going on in town proper. Us staring at the ship from here.
from the boat.
I'm sorry, what?
See their reaction from the boat that just washed ashore.
For all we know, there could have been some sort of communication from the boat to town by now, but that's in town, not out here on the beach.
Yeah. I am finished dressing, and I kind of just adjust my collar on my cloak. Then let's get going.
He nods, switches whatever. I imagine he had it under his right arm, so he probably switches whatever switches to his left, his armor. He didn't bother putting it back on. There's no point. He's not expecting combat.
All right. With that note in detail, Erda will ride with May. Just cloak space.
Oh, you mean she doesn't want the chance to hide under my vestments? Or with Zephyr? She hasn't bunked with Zephyr yet. She should bunk with Zephyr. Maybe he's fun.
Looks over at Zephyr.
All right, I hold out my hand and let her climb up my arm.
I point towards the poofy collar and say, "There's a little bit of space between the hide and the shoulder pads in
It's
there."
Like, he has an entire cloak and he's not as shiny as me. He's probably actually the best one if,
And he has a lot more like comfortable cloth kind of fabric to hide in
Yep.
than I do.
she jumps on your
I have a
hand.
point.
All right. She climbs up and takes a deep breath, and you hear her just stop breathing for a second. Last time you washed this.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. It gets nestled in next to your neck. Ready when you are.
Right, we head back to the inn.
Is it the end you want to head to?
yeah.
Okay. Well, I
I
mentioned
mean,
you
we
should.
head back to town, but they.
Right.
I mean, going to the docks themselves doesn't seem like the best idea, so just going to our inn to see if anybody there is discussing it was the plan.
All right.
Do I still have that room covered, or is the tab up on it?
The tab would actually be up tomorrow morning, so you're good for one more night.
All right, I'm glad to hear that.
You guys make your way back to town. The town actually has a lot of people in small groups scattered about as you walk through, all kind of whispery and chit-chatty. It seems like at some point, a small boat detachment did leave from that boat and headed into town. No one said anything notable about people being on board, just guards. So perhaps they're doing a quick check in town. You guys make your way to the inn, where you find some of those guards. They're asking general questions about town safety. There seems to be a more official town official talking to them, perhaps a mayor or a squire of some sort. Other than that, the tavern's normal.
Do I know of that, like, what was it, drainage ditch that the party has kind of seen the creatures kind of going in and out of?
Mm, no.
I don't think so.
No,
Yeah,
yes, you do.
I do.
You were told in the morning by Opti's character, Jalen,
Ah,
because they left your tent out there still.
right, and I overheard it. E.
Yeah, yeah.
A part of me kind of feels like I should mention that there was like some kind of like homeless person seen going in and out of there, so it might be a security risk. And then, anonymously giving them that tip and then kind of just going into the crowd.
Yeah. Probably a good idea not to.
Probably. Other than that, I think I'm going to hide Tarragon in my cloak and kind of just disappear through the crowd, trying to make my way away from the rest of the party.
All right.
Just being inconspicuous and making it look like I'm not tied to them.
You're not hard to spot in a crowd carrying a 6-foot tall gun.
Or a
I thought
red
you said
hood.
it was a 10-foot tall gun.
Or a red hood.
You're right, it is a 10-foot. My bad. I was thinking of one of their other weapons. But yeah.
My
So,
stealth check would beg to differ.
stealth doesn't matter if you're visible.
Well,
Assassin's Creed logic. I'm in a crowd.
Okay, I'm
you're
gonna.
in a crowd, but you stick out like a sore thumb because one, you're a drow, which with your cloak, easy enough to hide. Two, you have a 10-foot, weird as fuck looking metal pole on your person. You will stick out like a sore thumb wherever the fuck you go.
And second, to my note, the stealth rule. Conditions for stealth. Unless you found something very specific to stand aside, you do not meet the conditions for stealth.
Yeah, but rule of cool. No, that doesn't fit here.
I smell heresy.
Oh.
Yeah, you're heading up to the room or just heading into the crowd to find a spot to mingle?
Just in the crowd. Actually, I'm gonna go over to the pipe, seeing as witch hunter and being told that they have a affinity towards warpstone and anything chaos involved, like inducted. I begrudgingly place the rifle and the ammo inside the grate of that place, and then kind of like try and discreetly like move away from it because it's more of an eyesore and I won't be able to move successfully around with it.
Okay. Wait, are you leaving the ammo too or just the gun?
The ammo too.
Okay.
So much for wanting a rifle. That's super cool.
I didn't say you couldn't have it.
Yeah, but the story to the contrary makes it very uh conspicuous for me to have it.
Risk
I
versus
mean,
reward.
yeah, like it's a risk versus reward sort of thing. Wanting the rifle, understandable. Actually having the rifle and it being reasonable to use are the yeah, very, very
Diminish.
different things. Anyway, so that's what she's doing. I imagine Zephyr and I are just going to the inn and seeing what's being talked about. Yeah.
Yeah. So entering the inn, Zephyr, first thing that jumps out to you is obviously your family. One of the new guards has joined your family in playing full bread hold'em. Just kind of seems to be chillaxing, having a general conversation. Not like being, argumentative or investigative, just kind of relaxing. Uh, the inn itself, like I said, very calm demeanor. Seeing you come in to Hawk, the old lady scooches over to you and asks if meals are going to be brought up to your room today.
No.
Gives you a nod. Would you like to order then now and see if you can't squeeze yourself into a table?
He looks to Zephyr.
I give her a nod.
All right. So where do you want to sit, Zephyr? There is some space for you and the Hawk at least at your mom's table, or you could try to squeeze in with a couple of the other tables. Perhaps maybe convince someone to move to an empty one to make one table for your party. Though there is not a full table that is available at the moment.
I'll see if I'll see about sitting with my family.
All right, you sit at the. There's two chairs available between the guard and your sister. Do you sit next to the guard or next to your sister?
Next to my sister.
You sit down. The guard kind of looks you over as you sit down and nods his head. We playing you in? Passes you a stack of sliced bread.
Well, I guess we are.
All right, Doc, what about you? Join him on the table.
I mean, I join him at the table, but I don't join the game, at least not for now.
All right. So generally just sitting in the group.
Yep.
Relaxing. Your mom asks you guys how the beach was. Berta is staying very close to your neck, Zephyr. She's not coming out at all. Actually kind of makes it a little hot on the backside of your neck. You know, the extra heat. You can feel her heart racing.
It was it was nice. We enjoyed ourselves.
Your mom takes a good whiff of the air around you as you sit down and asks if you were drinking again.
Only a little bit.
Her eyes narrow at you.
All right, maybe more than a little bit.
She nudges your sister and she points to a hair on the right of your arm sleeve. A long black curly hair.
Oh, out of character. Is that one of Jessica's hairs?
Yes.
She was rubbing on your arm.
All right. Well, I met. Well, if you must know, I met a girl, but nothing happened. We just talked for a little while.
You're out of Kavzar for 3 days and you're already meeting other people. I'm so proud of you.
Fell in love with a girl. I love it once,
Zephian
and
beach
almost
girl sitting on
completely.
a bench. Your sister just kind of slightly teasing you as the guard kind of annoyingly says, "Are we going to deal this hand or what?"
By all means.
The rounds start going by. Your sister does not understand, even in the most remote sense, how to bet, and it doesn't seem like anyone's explained. And she goes all in on loafs almost every round. And everyone just kind of keeps letting her take her bread back, being amused with it. For a little while, the guard asks, "So, you guys got anything fun to do around here? Or is it just bread poker?"
Define fun.
I don't know. A hunting lodge, multiple taverns to crawl to.
Well, we haven't been in town for terribly long. There's the remnants of the Sap Ale festival fair. What did they call it?
Oh, we missed the SAP festival?
You did.
That's a shame. Hoping we make it.
Yeah, unfortunately, thanks to some business in Kabzar, we also missed it.
Real shame. Town's supposed to be really lively when that's going on.
You
Sits
know,
back in the chair, announcing his fold and just taking it. Yeah, no, told the guys in the boat I'd come in and see what was up. We're gonna be on rotating shifts for the next few days, so every day 10 of us are taking the day off, and we're just gonna keep rotating between the 100 of us like that.
why are you out here? Is it because of the tower?
Yeah. The king's coming up to give his blessing and blah blah blah. I'm
That
not
makes
crazy for
sense.
the king. Really not. But this is like one of the highest export, or not this town, but Kavzar is one of the highest export towns in the region, so makes sense that he'd come up and do some official work.
About that.
Hmm? He raises his tankard and takes a drink.
Well, not so much about the king, but about exports. The weather the past couple days has been nice, but before that, there were some torrential downpours. We plants may have recovered, but it was bad enough that they looked unsalvageable as we were walking out here from Kabzar.
Oh, that's not
I
good.
think this year's harvest is ruined.
I'm sure the town's got enough in reserve. They have
He
to pay
gives a
dividends.
he gives him a sort of look of suggesting that even if they did, they're probably also ruined.
Hmm. Well, if that's the case, perhaps Magnus will get to the bottom of it.
We can hope.
Takes a big old swig. One of his buddies comes over and whispers, and he looks at you guys. Well, I've got time for 2 more hands. And me and the buddies are going fishing.
Um,
I know, right? Apparently this town has a charter boat.
he nods.
Anyway, who's dealing? Goes back into the game. He's there to answer any questions if you guys got another one, but for a moment I'm gonna switch over to May. So May, you've stashed your contraband, quote unquote. Where do you head from here? You can see that Zephyr and Dahak have taken a seat at a kind of crowded table and seem to be chit-chatting with a guard. There's a couple other guards around the room just relaxing, but otherwise just a packed tavern night. Even the fat ass is still alive and drinking. Shocking.
I mean, the fact that he's drinking is not shocking. The fact that he's still alive is somewhat shocking.
Glug, glug, glug. May? Oh,
Huh? Sorry, what was that?
where
It's your
you?
turn.
Yeah, it's your turn. Dash your weapons. Dahak and Zephyr sitting at a table with, their family that's full. It has a guard at it. They're kind of chit-chatting. There's a
I
guard
think
scattered across the inn, and most of the tables are kind of full.
Am I outside or did I just go in?
You can be in or outside. Your call. I'd say you're at least at the door.
I'm gonna see that there's a lot of guards there, then I'm just going to hang out outside. Hood drawn down, so anybody that was on the boat would notice that I was the one sunbathing, right? And I'm just gonna hang out, brood, and like next to, not too close to the door, but just hang out, lean against the wall, and just, meditate. Sorry I wasn't responding before. I had a pretty surprisingly long day. Did a lot of work today.
Nice. So as you lay your head back against the stone, you kind of get that ominous wash feeling over you again, like in the woods.
I'm being watched.
Kinda. Everything kind of starts to darken around you again. This time you don't feel yourself pulled out of reality. You seem to stay very affixed, and you can even see people walking on the street.
Hmm.
But you don't feel like you're leaning against a wall.
What am I leaning against?
Feels like you're leaning against someone's back.
I look over my shoulder at him.
The only thing you can make out in the immediate spot is one of those long, curly horns.
Anything I can trouble you with?
Seem busy. Daddy.
I look around to see if anybody noticed me talking to myself.
No one seems to notice. Or at least be paying you any mind.
I discreetly speak in Thieves' Cant at him. Si- mostly like garbled symbols and like the signals and incoherent like word lasagna at him, but more or less still trying to convey the message, right? That keeping myself busy is the only thing that's going to get to help me get what I want, and unless you have something that aligns with that, I don't know why you're here then.
Told you. I am always here.
Hmm. So
Especially
no,
when the scent of fear is so close.
I noticed
In
as soon
this
as the bolt pulled in.
in this odd little meditative state you're in, you kind of key into something you haven't really noticed the last time since you were out in the woods.
Hmm.
There's a couple groups of people around you that are whispering. They don't, like I said, they're not really paying attention to you. But in those groups, on occasion, you see someone's heart begin to race, and they seem uncomfortable. And whenever you see this, he takes a nice deep inhale and relaxes. I can see that she's panicking as well.
I can see it too. It's odd.
To know who's
Never really
afraid.
noticed it before.
People really show their true colors when they're afraid. So much valuable insight to glean. Yes.
Hmm.
But I am always here when you meditate. I'm just choosing to be here. You can't see his face directly, but you're pretty sure he smiles when he says that.
Verification.
Hmm?
Did she ever clearly see his face? Because I feel like she didn't.
He did.
It was covered with like a bone carapace and a hood, so not really being able to see his face, but his mouth, yeah, that's free
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, you saw his face.
Color mask, yeah. Not like his actual under the mask face.
Hee.
Meh.
So what do you reflect upon?
Just thinking of what I need to do to get the job done. And hopefully, if the job does get finished, I'll be a step closer to returning to some kind of peace.
Gives you a knowing nod. You feel his neck in the motion.
Is there a certain guarantee that the love that I spoke of last we met can be can be safely brought to me?
Can't bring them to you.
Just ensuring their safety is enough, so that I have
Once
a
they
better chance at
have
coming to
that
them.
cloth here, they will be safe from my kind, as you put it.
Does that mean while I have it, I'm safe from them?
Within reason.
All right.
They will turn a blind eye to you unless you draw the ire.
That's fair enough. Speaking of blind eye, I believe I've left a gift for your associates by the great here in town drainage ditch towards the south. Before someone else notices it, I would expect someone of your prestige to have sent somebody to retrieve it.
Want it back?
No, just out of sight. Keep it, give it to somebody that's useful with it.
Gives you a nod. I'll let you enjoy the quiet of the street.
Plans are in motion, and these are the last couple of quiet hours before the trigger is set. So I'll enjoy these few hours.
Is it worth? The
Cross
voice
my arms.
fades out and you feel the wall. Though noticeably, you retain something from your meditation
Mm.
for the next hour.
Ooh.
You can feel the heartbeats around you.
I want to look at the
Specifically the
ones that are
ones that are
beating the fastest.
afraid.
I want to look at the ones that are beating the fastest.
You can see them. For example, I said mostly the ones that are afraid are the ones you're picking up, but ones that are racing as well, like kids running through the street. Some old midwife that looks like she might do some illicit substance. She seems to be kind of shaky and wringing her hands, talking about the boat. You see some
Any guard,
merchants a bit fearful about their inventory. What were you asking?
any guardsmen that learned that if you take any kind of pain relief and then immediately drink coffee with it, it activates it like rapidly.
Yes.
Nice.
Mostly in
I
the bar.
I didn't realize that that was a thing, by the way. that
Coffee is a drug.
painkillers and coffee are a very terrible combination because it causes your heart to just pump really fast.
Yep. One of the reasons I don't
Isn't
drink
that-
coffee.
Yeah, like isn't that similar to fuck, I forget the name for it, but the thing that was basically like an energy drink that was alcoholic.
I
I think it was like Voltage or
I
something.
thought it was Monster.
Monster did release a alcoholic energy drink recently, but
Okay, yeah, I was just no, I was
No,
I don't
okay.
remember.
Like, I
Viper.
think I'm thinking of a mixed
Viper,
drink.
yeah, it was
Wasn't it like
Viper.
Jaeger bomb?
It was Viper.
But anyway, like yeah, isn't it along those lines of an
Yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah,
it's an
it's right around
active and a
those.
stimulant or a suppressant.
Yep.
Yeah.
Your body can't deal with both.
kind of like how the pain receptors for well, the receptors, they are not inherently pain receptors, but the receptors for spicy hot and mint cold are different parts of your tongue, so you can actually have your tongue be on fire and frozen at the same fucking time.
Well,
You
what
you
was
can
it?
also smell the difference between hot and cold water.
What's that one like foot fungus medicine? Uh
Tinactin?
no, it's like it was like a yellow can, like something jockey or whatever.
I know what you're
All
talking
I know
about.
is that combined with icy hot could actually like cause your foot to literally like have frostbite.
Anyway,
Anyway,
in the sense of feeling the heartbeats, none of them stands out more actively than Erda's. Erda's is very fast, and not just because she's a rodent.
Hey, it's like she's a literal witch and there's a literal witch hunter on the ship offshore.
It's very uncomfortable. Do you do anything special with your gift while you have it?
I've already come to the terms that Erda knows these can't, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna tap on the window to get her attention, and then hand signal something to her that she needs to calm down. They can hear your heartbeat. And then I just walk away.
She did not get your message. She's too panicked.
Oh well.
You tried. Where do you walk
Probably
to?
for the best anyway. If she actually understood you, that would almost certainly make her more panicked.
True. I think I'm just gonna sit at a bench next to the river on the outskirts of
We don't
Toboro.
have a river. We have an ocean.
Then what bridge did we cross to get here? I remember that there was a small little creek that we made camp next to the first day we were here. It was a small little creek that goes towards the ocean.
I don't think
Okay,
it
it's
was
not
that
in
close to
town.
town.
Oh,
Yeah, like that was outside of town.
I mean, if you're heading that way, you can go pick up your tent. So, I mean, that works.
mm,
I'll
I
let
thought we,
you walk that
given
way.
the rats, I thought the consensus there was that we took the tent because we assumed the rats would find and destroy the tent.
we did take it down, but I don't think it was taken care of.
Like I thought, yeah, okay, that's the problem. Jalen was the one who actually took the tent, but Jalen's not a character anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, she still is, but she's off to do her own thing.
She's not.
Don't worry
What,
about
Like
it.
she didn't
The
just
the,
get
the point
Thanos camp.
the point is like the person
player
running
isn't
the
here,
character in charge of the tent, last in charge of the tent rather,
Yep.
is no longer with us. So it doesn't. So it's moot how we have canonically
just saying.
rectified that.
She didn't get Thanos snapped. She just walked off to do her own thing.
Okay.
So the tent's probably there, carefully rolled up, and
Yep. Sitting by the side of a tree.
at the yep, exactly.
You're making your way that way to find a nice, peaceful spot to sit.
Walking slowly, listening to the symphony of heartbeats, noticing how, even though all of them are beating in different velocities and repetition, that they all kind of share this numerous was it melody that actually feels like uniform within each other's. Like so many of them are simultaneous, like perfectly in sync, while there's just like a muse of ones that aren't, but slowly become that because of how like melodies work.
All right. Also, do you want to push it that way? As you get closer to where the tent is, you find one heartbeat. It's incredibly slow. It's
Where's it coming
right
from?
where the camp was. You see a man in a black duster and a large brim hat. Zephyr!
Oh,
Yes.
You have just won yourself 3 loaves of meat bread for your expert card playing. Your sister pouts a bit, but you guys start to wrap up the game. Guard getting ready to leave. What are you doing?
Uh, uh, can I feel how fast Erda's heart is beating?
Yeah, you can feel that one. You can also feel the sweat that she's putting off, kind of running down your back.
I don't think
Uh,
rats can sweat. At least if they can, I think it's only their feet.
You still feel it.
damp paw pads.
Also,
Um,
polymorph
well,
rat.
I'm gonna get up from the table and excuse myself, saying I have to use the restroom.
Your sister tells you that she'll take care of your winnings.
I give her a thumbs up and head for the restroom.
As you walk away to Hawk, you see that his sister begins stacking all the individual slices of bread again. She asks if you want to help.
He does.
Together, we're going to make a loaf castle.
I like to imagine that this bread is apple
Yeah, like-
cinnamon fritter type.
Yeah, like, like, if you hadn't made that comment, Dahak was actually going to suggest that they make a bread fort.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
Like a pillow fort bread.
Yep.
Zephyr, you make it into the bathroom.
Is it, how big is it?
At least 20 feet by 20. Box. Couple stalls.
And anyone else in here?
Nope.
All right. Well, I'll like kind of like reach into the neck of my cloak and like start like giving Erda some reassuring pats.
As you go to reach in, she kind of panics for a second. You can feel the tip of her teeth against your skin before she realizes who's trying to pick her up and stops. Like she went to immediately bite. Sorry. Where are we?
We're back. We're back. We're back at the inn. I could feel. I could feel how your heart's going like 1,000 miles a minute.
Sorry.
I don't blame you for being scared.
There's one in the city already.
How can you tell?
Such an odd stillness just in the street. Like the calm before the storm. You can feel the magic in the air. Like bloodhounds sniffing around. The guards reek of it. It keeps putting me on edge. And at that moment, the door gets kicked open and you see some guy quickly rush past you into one of the toilets. He's as he vomits.
Is it the lard?
No, it's not the lard. The lard couldn't move. He just vomit where he was.
All right, that does make sense. Just needed to clarify.
I like how we don't even call him by his name. He's just the lard.
Do we even know the fucker's name?
Number
Nope.
one.
Yeah, number
Yeah, he
one.
doesn't. We don't know his name. We just know him as whatever nickname we give him, or number one.
Number one.
Fat bastard.
You know who else is number one? Me.
Oh. You know who else is number one? Pisses pants.
No,
She
what else is number one?
she apologizes and says if you want, you can just drop her off in the room and she'll stay up there. Didn't mean to cause you any discomfort. She's whispering now because of the guy in the stall, but
I kind of whisper back. It's okay, but if you think, but if that's all right, bleh. It's okay, but if you want to hide up in the room, then all right. Like leave the bathroom and head up there.
you head up to the bedroom. And you see the door is slightly ajar.
Hang on, that's my mom calling.
Cool. Hey, Dahak.
Oh.
You guys begin construction on the bread fort.
So there's the guy playing cards with us.
The guard.
It sounded like there were, well, he said there were 10 guards off ship. So were any of the others in the inn? Well,
Several.
in the tavern, rather.
There's 4 currently in the tavern, kind of walking around and mingling. One of them seems to be trying to pick up some drunk chick. You know. Did you want to try to talk to a different one?
Well, hold on. What were you trying to say, Lil?
My lack of energy is starting to kick up on me. I don't know if I can stay up much longer.
And to drink coffee.
No, I I took an aspirin earlier just because my head hurt, so that would just cause my heart to race.
So, honestly, like, I'm starting to feel tired too, since, as I said, I woke up, like, fucking
Clearly.
stupid early.
Yeah.
I'm back.
That's
Sorry.
It's fine.
We're setting the something.
You guys trying to end early.
Unfortunately, it's not like we want to.
Well, I would have been fine with going until 10, I think, but it sounds like Lil is not at all okay with that. They, from as far as I can tell, got up and actually were active way earlier than even I.
Yeah. Like,
I was up even earlier than all of you combined. No.
like,
You're diurnal, I'm nocturnal, and they're no particular schedule.
I haven't heard that word in years.
Diurnal?
Diurnal?
Yeah.
Somebody just tries saying your name, but they have dyslexia.
A day and night.
Yes.
The only reason I remember that is because of bee farming in Starbound. There's bees that are active at day and night, and that's what they're called.
Diurnal.
The diurnal family.
Yep.
Mm. We have a thing of diurnal wasps hanging out on our front porch.
Alright, I'm at least gonna ask for 30 minutes.
All right, I can try to stay up longer, just for 30 though.
I mean, if they're gonna try to stay up longer, it doesn't sound like there's terribly much going on at the end. Like I was asking for a setup there, but considering Lil is crashing, you should focus on the witch hunter and Lil.
That is a horrible assumption that's the witch.
Black trench coat with a wide brim hat, and not a cowboy.
No, bitch, I'm a vampire.
I mean, it's either the witch hunter, a vampire hunter, or D, so kind of both.
Vampire Hunter D, the Dampire.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
he's a
will focus
vampire
on
and a
Lil so
hunter.
that Lil can go first.
Meh.
Lil, you find this man standing over your belongings, looking them over intently. You can
So
hear him actively sniffing around.
am I far enough away for him to not notice that I'm here?
I'd say make a stealth.
Hmm. I do have a pretty good stealth check. Um. Meh. 17.
Play your favor. He doesn't notice you.
Seeing as he is sniffing around, I think I'm going to crouch and start heading towards the creek. Just the like the edge of it, but the moment that I see that he's turning back towards the town, I'm going to go into it.
Into the town or into the creek?
Into the water and diving into it like as much as I can to obscure myself. You know, to still be out of sight and not be and not show him my scent.
It's funny the way you word that. He does,
Well,
as you say, as the tree stops reviewing your baggage. He seems to head back in town for a brief moment. He makes it to the point where you were standing and stops and turns back around toward the creek.
well, seeing as I did see that he was literally tilting his head, sniffing the air, I'd know that like he has a good scent and smell. So, like being a ranger, I'm aware of how predators work. So I'm going to try and obscure myself with water first, and then try to either go to the other side and hide in a brush line with my scent being masked and washed, or try to let the creek wash me further away, unless it's not that like deep of a creek.
It's not that deep.
Yeah, then I'm just gonna cross like while he was like not looking towards me. I dip in the creek, get my scent away, and then go into like the tree line and then just hide.
All right. You get up in a tree or do you stay on the ground?
Ground. If
Okay,
I'm
so
gonna
you
get
gotta run.
caught, might as well. What?
In case you gotta run.
Yep.
You watch him make his way back to the creek. He stops, takes a look at the water, looks around for a second, and begins focusing on some kind of spell. A small tuft of red light appears in his hand as he sprinkles the light over the ground. You see your footprints lighting up.
I immediately hunter's mark him and then run to the woods.
Every time you look behind you, you see the track. It continues like this for about 10 minutes.
I take my boots off and then put them into the ground after getting a far enough berth.
When you do this, it stops tracking you.
Does it track the boots?
It does. Though it's recasted.
Well, I'm going to climb a tree, tie the boots up to the very top, and then acrobatically try to jump from this tree to the next one, and then wrap the like. I'm probably going to use the remainder of my gauze to wrap my feet in.
Just think, all of this could have been avoided by you taking the other tactic of, what are you doing with my stuff, perv?
I'm under the impression that this guy,
This guy is a witch hunter, I know. I'm making a
yeah,
joke.
like the Inquisitor, who has a lot of jurisdiction, like above certain rules.
If he says you're guilty, you're guilty.
Exactly. I'll be executed on the spot.
And
And with the way that I look now, he'll have more than
Right,
enough
I
reason
forgot you
to
have
execute me.
physical corruption issues. So you
Yeah.
actually made the correct choice here.
Yeah, I'm a drow.
despite
It's not just that you're a
Not just the
drow,
drow,
you're a
yeah. But
more
that's a
corrupted
reason why he
drow.
would just execute me on the spot, though.
Yeah.
I am a slaver race.
even with all of your precautions, you feel his heartbeat keeping steady behind you. He doesn't seem to run or exert any extra energy. He just seems to follow the path before him.
If that's the case, I'm going to put my shoes back on and lead him towards that segment of the woods where I set up traps.
How actively do you make sure he's following you, or you just assume he's going to all the way?
I want to get within just barely being able to hear his heartbeat and wait to see if he's still following me, like if he's getting closer or not. If he's not, then I just head back into town and try to warn the party. No, that would just mean that I'm heading towards him again. Also, so much for me being the captain's guard's guide with
You
that.
being the right, like you being the guy, yeah, whatever.
With
Happens.
the hunter on my tail, it would be very hard for me to actually do that.
Well, I mean, it like do what your character would think is best, but you should really try to reconvene with us as soon as fucking possible.
He follows you for about a mile before he realizes all the extra little, tidbits you're going through to try to just duck him. All the extra turns, all the extra wigs. He's still got a job to do, heretic or not. His heartbeat never changes pace, nor gives off any sign of emotion. And just at one point, you're moving forward and you feel him turn around.
So, Hunter's Mark, how far away is he?
$700 feet.
That is within the 1500 for the longbow.
Yeah.
And because his back is facing me and he's no longer really focused on my attention, that would mean that I do have advantage.
You sure about that?
It's within my range. He is in darkness. He doesn't know where I am necessarily.
Your call.
Do I poke the bear?
I mean, you either poke the bear or you come find us. Pick one.
I mean, what's better? Distracting the captain of the guard while you guys, rescue that Erda's husband, or distracting the Inquisitor and keeping him off of your guys' tail as you do the same thing.
So here's, since you pointed that out, here's the question you need to answer. How do you want to die alone? To this asshole or the guards?
Hmm. I feel like it would be more important to distract the FBI agent than it is to do the sheriff.
There you go. Go distract him then.
I'm gonna shoot him. I have advantage.
All right, sorry.
And Hunter's
Problem.
Mark on him.
It's fine, Merrick. When you're not the focus of the scene, you don't need to apologize for suddenly needing to leave.
Alright. I was not expecting to crawl out of bed. Let me
I
get
mean, well,
my.
it's not the best you can roll on Discord if you don't want to roll physical dice.
I need my damage calculations just in case I do hit him.
Okay, then.
I just need to be reminded what they were. I think my bow is like something. Alright. I can roll in the bot if you want me to.
No, you're fine.
Alright. Advantage. First roll because I can't find my other D10 anywhere. With my proficiency, that's a non-natural 20. And then
Fire
the second
favor.
roll was a natural 1, so I hit him.
Fire favor.
Nice. Alright, so sneak attack. I get, where is it? A 2d6 added to my d8, and then Hunter's Mark, I think, is another 2d6. I am going to roll damage on that because I'm too tired to try and find a handful of dice. So let me just, what was it? Roll 1d8 plus 5 plus 4d6. 20 points of.
All right.
20 piercing.
An expert shot launched across the forest. You hear your arrow whiz through the air. sliding by each little tree flawlessly as it goes to hit its mark, who you can still barely see is outlined due to your dark vision as the sun has now set. You know you hit him, but he makes no indication of it. It turns back toward you.
Sorry, what was that? My headset died.
Your arrow found
You
its
said it so
mark,
nice.
flew all the way there, and went through him. He turned
Well-
back toward you.
Well, no, like the
Did that guy misty step just to avoid my hit?
no, it was initially worded, and then for some reason Dylan
changed it.
reworded it as, "You know you hit him. There was no reaction when you hit him. All he did was turn around."
Oh. Safe to assume that I have his attention.
No.
Hey, Lil. You feel your friendly furry companion poke you.
Yeah.
He refocuses your heartbeat. That heartbeat in front of you doesn't seem as strong as it was. You feel another one just as soft. You're right.
How close?
200 feet. And closing. The other one's still in front of you, too.
Clever girl.
Time to fucking run.
I put my bow back over my shoulder, grab one of those rat daggers, and then kind of just slink into the woods.
Because this is a rule for the spell, I'm going to tell you it. Any physical interaction reveals the image to be an illusion. You revealed that the one you shot was an illusion. An illusion with a heart. You slink
I
off
had
into the
Hunter's
woods.
Mark on him.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter's Mark doesn't.
It gives me advantage on perception checks and survival checks to track monsters. So
Correct.
I would have been able to tell if it was an illusion or not.
No, you wouldn't have.
No.
Not inherently. You
And
have
if you
advantage.
marked-
Advantage on perception doesn't mean you always know 100% accuracy what something
Yeah,
is.
but
This is
I
an
should
illusion
have.
spell.
I think I should
You-
have been able to have a Q effect where it's like, could you roll a survival or a perception check on this creature that you've marked?
While true, I guess I'm the only one who's noticed it. Dylan's done a lot of fiating where he hasn't asked for rolls, he's just been telling a story.
Lil tends to go out of her way for special roles, so I usually don't bother her unless she asks. Being said, if you are to Hunter's Mark the spell project image until you physically interact with it, it would work exactly as if you were targeting a physical target. Therefore, if the illusion was disguised the correct way, you would still detect it as you detecting him. You never casted it on him. You casted it on his illusion. He has no reason to be in town and draw attention to himself. You're slinking off into the woods?
Yep. Towards the darker end of the forest where I left the traps. Because obviously this guy has lured me into his own trap.
I mean, I'm pretty sure since you made the valid point that sassing him would have backfired, I think just running away to town would have been the best option.
Either way, that run will definitely consume your night.
Uh-huh.
I was told that he would have burned the entire town down if he sensed any inkling of heresy.
And what the fuck do we care about this town? We've already given up on Kavzar. None of us even live in Toboro.
Ouch.
I'm not wrong.
Well, I was under
Kavzar
the
was actually
guise.
our.
I was under the
Kavzar was.
guise.
Go
Come
ahead.
on. I was under the guise that, like, my job in this quest was to serve as a distraction.
I
So
mean,
if
Your
I'm
job in the
able
quest
to,
was to distract the guard, not this asshole. We didn't even
True.
know he was off ship yet.
true, but I've decided that distracting him would be a more advantageous situation than having him snooping around the rest of the party, trying to sniff out Urda.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, either way, you're doing a great job.
I'm happy to do it.
And hey, look
I
at the
love
bright
this
side.
attention.
You burned his only level 7 spell slot.
Mm,
Yay.
meh.
Well, Lil, you have plenty of time to start brainstorming.
200 feet away, yep. Because he's slow walking, and 200 feet's really far away.
And if you know you're
Especially
going
if
to
he's
catch
moving
your
at half speed.
target, do you even care?
What?
And if you know you're going to catch your target, do you even care?
You don't. Like, he's pursuit hunting. That. The rate at which you run from him doesn't matter.
I know. He's doing tribal, prehistoric hunting where it doesn't matter how long he travels, as long as his quarry tires out, he's just gonna keep on going.
Yep.
Yep.
I am a ranger.
Yeah,
I
like the
know the tactic.
Terminator.
Dun, 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 dun.
Wouldn't really call it the
Bum-bum.
Terminator, but I guess that's the closest pop fiction.
Stars.
That's not a good one.
Yeah, like Nemesis is actually a way better one. The Terminator doesn't hunt you down. The Terminator just finds you and blows you up. He was actively hunting people down. To be fair, he also typically, well, actually, I shouldn't say typically, but he also spectacularly blew people up. But Nemesis seems a much better equivalent than Terminator.
Now I know who you are, Chris Hansen. Or I call you Chris Handsome. Now we could do this the easy way. I like you and I want you. Now we could do this the easy way. Or we can do it the hard way. The choice is yours.
I'm just gonna
Oh,
fucking
actually,
kill
you're
you.
doing this the
Looking for
hard
booty.
way.
I came here looking for booty.
All I can think of now is the Devil Artemis one. Wait, the fuck? Anyway, Lil, I would highly recommend when you get time, you should brainstorm.
There's not much that I can brainstorm. The only choice or chance that I have is to lead him into the denser part of the forest.
All right, but if
like I said, you have two main options. There's options within those categories, but it's further.
Seeing as I have
No,
dark vision, would I be able to transfer my hunter's mark from his illusion to him, seeing as I know where he is now?
yes,
I'm gonna do that immediately, and then I'm going to, like, every now and then cast, or not cast, roll the survival check just to make sure how far away he is from me.
I will note for your line of thinking. Maybe I'm too merciful, but if you lure him into your trap, are you gonna have a trap for the guards?
Probably not.
well, like,
At least they're getting used.
yeah. You're also threat assessing poorly. He said you made him use his only level 7 spell. Meaning he has access to level 7 magic, and you're trying to 1v1 him.
I'm not trying to 1v1 him. I'm trying to
Yes, you
lead
are.
him away. I'm not actively attacking him. I am kiting him towards a direction, and then as soon as he gets disinterested in me, I'm going to shoot him. And then as soon as he gets re-aggroed, I'm just going to keep kiting him. I'm not 1v1ing him.
Okay, so you're not 1v1ing him on a field of battle. You're trying to solo him, is what I'm trying to say
Yeah.
here.
I'm
That's
going
a
to try and
terrible,
annoy the shit
terrible
out of
idea.
him. I'm going to try to annoy the shit out of him in my home field advantage because, as far as I'm aware, he doesn't have natural terrain. He has to go through the difficult terrain. Meanwhile, I'm able and free to move in this area. This is my home. He's in my home right now.
Whoa!
He's trespassing. I have the right to take
Whoa.
my shotgun and blow his brains out.
Do you know how high level he has to be to have level 7 magic?
Very high, I know.
This isn't the
Okay,
first time I've threatened
I'm
him.
not intending to kill him. I'm just intending to annoy the shit out of him. Like an ADC to a tank.
It's okay, Tug. I'm sure he understands the risk. It's not the first time I've done this to him. Sorry.
I believe my
yeah, I
headset
was
keeps
confused.
dying.
Who the hell's the he here? Like, it's they or
Sorry.
she in this.
My
I was
headset
speaking
keeps
past
dying,
tense.
so
Past tense, it was he. Sorry.
Whatever.
my headset keeps dying, so I don't know what else to explain.
You're
Right.
fine.
Whatever. Like that's not really it. It's more just he mentioned several. Bleh. Dylan mentioned level 7 spell. You know what that means. Okay.
Yep.
Like
Plan accordingly.
Do you
it's
think I'm
more just
not?
it seems like you keep picking the path that most likely going to get your character killed, and
If I
if you're
do
okay with that,
anything
then
else, I would just be beelining myself to
Don't
death faster.
argue about it. You got a week to think about it. Get some rest, Lil.
Like this entire situation is shitty for me. The moment that he noticed my scent. So I am threat assessing as best as I can. It doesn't matter if he's able to cast the 7-level spells, because if I were to have just tried to attack him like straight up, he would have just murked me immediately.
yes, that was the correct assessment. The point before we started arguing, the point I was trying to make was you have two general options. You've chosen to further isolate yourself, or you can go back to town and try and regroup with us. That one
And
sounds like the better option to me, but you don't think so, and that's all that matters.
the fact that there's more guards there puts everybody in the town in danger, because the moment that I go into town, everybody that's affiliated with the Inquisitor will immediately become hostile, which would mean that the entire town will go into chaos.
The entire town being in chaos seems like it's much harder for the Inquisitor to deal with than.
It wouldn't just be the Inquisitor
I'm stopping
anymore. It would
myself.
also
I'm stopping
be
myself,
the guards.
disengaging from the argument because it's just wasting everybody's time and getting us all hung under the collar. So I'm just going to stop there. I was trying to say my main point was you chose to isolate yourself and you think that's the better choice,
Yeah.
not to regroup. That's all that matters because your character, your choice, whatever.
It's okay. I said that this was going to be a heavy session. I expected it to be worse than this. So we're off to a good start. Lil,
Yes.
good job so far. Keep it up. Whether your character survives or not, I know you'll put up a good fight. Please go get some sleep. I hope you feel better.
Well, before you go to sleep, like I don't remember what made me think of that, but I put it in the voice chat's text box. You and I mentioned how Merrick is actually a lot better when we do stuff via text. What's the thought on continuing this text based from here on out?
I could, but then you have to deal with my bad English.
I mean, you could, like, as long as we're in a voice chat and you can clarify what you mean, talking, you're good. Text, yeah, no, you're. I don't know what the hell happens to make your ability to type shit out degrade so immensely, but
Don't worry. He's
uh,
used to my misspellings.
I mean, your misspellings aren't really that
we
bad.
can discuss that like
His,
tomorrow, or
yeah, like his is an
No.
entirely separate order
You know
than
that
yours.
RP server that's strictly like type that I'm a part of.
Mhm.
One of the people that I'm in like a narrative with pointed out that I've been typing follow as fallow.
Yeah, you do a thing that I used to do a fair amount where you what's the word
Where the
homonym? Yeah,
words,
where you type
No.
homonyms of each other.
yeah, where the words sound like they're supposed to like actually like work, but they're not.
Like yeah, like waste as in waste product when what you
Mhm.
meant was somebody's waste around their midsection.
Exactly. Or fallow as in come this direction. Let me lead you somewhere.
Yeah, follow me, not fallow, which I think has to do with tallow. I don't remember what that
Fallow
word
has something to
correlates
do with
to.
farms. Like
Yeah,
you fallow ground.
yeah, plowed and harrowed, but left unsown for a period to restore its fertility, part of a
Yep.
crop rotation,
Yep,
or avoid
exactly.
surplus production. That's the definition.
Like bruh, fallow is just it's fall and ow. Like
Yes.
follow.
Anyway,
You guys have a good night.
yeah.
It was a really great session too. I'm glad. I really enjoyed it. I'm sorry that we had to cut it soon, early.
Oh, one at a time.
Happens.
It's fine. Try to get some sleep next week.
Well, I mean, I did. I was just really
It's
busy
fine.
today. What was it? I was fallowing.
Whoever's doing that, please stop.
I was fallowing a potato field in our backyard, and you know the rain kind of made it muddy, so I got really tired real fast.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
Have
it
a
was a
good one,
wonderful
though.
session. You guys have a wonderful night.
Plan accordingly.
Mhm.
Night.
Uh, I guess it would be better to go back to Merrick then, since that's going to change the narrative. So Zephyr, you're making your way up to the bedroom. You get in there with, Erda. The door was cracked open as you guys came up. So clearly somebody has been in and out and not said anything. It could have been, your sister or your mom for all you know, but at some point, someone in and out. Uh, Erda quickly goes over to the window and just kind of peeks out as you enter, and she stares there for a minute. She tells you that it feels like the presence leaving town. Slowly.
I kind of look around the room to see if anything was disturbed.
Out of everything that is in the room, only two things seem to have differed. Actually, you know what? Make a history check first. I want to actually see how much of it you pick up on. There's actually some other things, so why not? Give me a roll.
Uh, 13, but with my intelligence, that's 22.
You see, this is why I gave you the intelligence stat.
Well, it's not just the intelligence. If it were just the intelligence, it would be much smaller. There's also your skill that's being added
Yeah.
to that.
Proficiency and
Mm-hmm.
so with a 22 first, you give a look around the room itself. The obvious and glaring one is that from the inside, you can tell the door was forced open. Not like somebody had a key, somebody kicked the door. Wasn't immediately noticeable as you came in, but now that you're on the other side, you can see the curl in the door.
Yeah, the door frame is kind of busted.
Yeah. The other things that are noticeable in the room, you guys don't put a ton of effort into, tidying your sleep spots. At least I don't imagine. Maybe Dahak does, but your
I
characters don't
wasn't
come
sleeping here. The only people sleeping here was
right. I've just said in general.
yeah.
The party does not. Your family does not. Being said, you don't recall either the sleeping spot that uh your mom or your sister had being tossed aside the room. Outside that, everything in the room is the way that was. Erda doesn't even seem to notice any of the changes.
Uh, I kind of someone in here?
Not anymore.
Will they force the door open and they kind of messed with my family's beds?
Doesn't seem like the inn is going to be a very safe place to sleep.
Not for much longer, anyway.
Well, now that I know he's not in town for the moment, I should be okay. And I'll be honest, I'd rather be downstairs crawling across the floor while he's not here than up here alone. I have changed my mind.
So out of character, she's gonna
stay with you.
there.
No, she's gonna go back
No,
with
she's
you.
going back downstairs.
Okay.
There's no reason to make
right.
herself a lone target.
All right. I'll put her. I'll like pick her up and put her back in my collar.
I'll try not to be a bother. She gets back up, with your assistance and gets comfy, and she tries not to stand directly against your neck. So if she does get shaky and uncomfortable, she'll be more in the fur of your hood than pressing against you. You make your way back downstairs to the table. At this point, there's only 2 guards left in the bar. Your mom asks, "What took you so long? I thought you were going to the bathroom."
I was. I just had to grab a couple things from upstairs.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah, the Hawk and your sister have made a lovely bread fort. It's got a little side pool, which is just bread and some gravy. Yeah, it's got a big gate that opens with like a longer loaf of Italian bread leaning against it, like it's braced. There's so much little thought and detail ripped into these tiny little pieces of bread.
Very nice indeed.
Do you just casually sit back down, or? How do you handle your newly found
I'll
information?
sit. I'll sit back down, but I let the Hawk know that we need to talk in a little while.
Okay, so before you say that, I feel the pertinent detail would be if our guard friend is still hanging around, or did he leave once we started making bread forts?
Once you started making bread forts, unless you wanted to talk to him about something.
Nah. I got all the pertinent information I cared about from him in that initial exchange.
All right. So there are 2 guards left in the bar, but they seem to be over in line for the app.
Well, and he doesn't look up from continuing the bread fortifications as he says, well, is there any particular reason we shouldn't discuss it here?
Mm. Just a little worried someone might overhear.
Fair. When it rains, it pours.
Berta kind of just pops out of the collar to that again. Only thing we're missing at the moment is a thunderstorm. Your mom seems to just be completely oblivious to the conversation at the moment. She's got her head tucked into like a newspaper. And she is drinking again.
Whatever. We don't want his family paying attention to these discussions.
His sister stands up from the table and runs around it, and you can see that she's flapping 2 pieces of bread together and saying that she made a bread goal.
He made a bread what?
Goal. Seagull.
Oh, okay. Alright, I'm gonna type this out so it's clear what I mean. Actually, I guess it doesn't matter, but whatever. Still typing it in the voice chat.
Mine.
God, how the fuck do you spell that word? Oh, that's how you spell it. Also, wait, no, that's an emoji. I don't gotta remember how the fuck you spell that word. No, oh, come on. There we go. What? There.
You have bagels and croissants.
Okay. As soon as she makes the joke about the seagulls, he grabs some bagel halves and starts flapping around with her.
All right. You guys get a couple of laughs from the bar. And quickly go back to their drinks, and she sits down after she drops half of her goal on the floor and steps on it. She complains about being tired to her mother, and her mother says that she'll take her up to go to bed. I hope you two have a good night.
Thank you. I hope you do too.
And they make their way out, leaving you two alone at the table with the bread fort. So, were you gonna tell him or keep it to yourself? Or the pipes up from your collar?
I mean, by that point, the hawk had already sat back down and started eating the bread fort.
7
I
layers
take
thick.
I'd take a couple pieces for myself, and I think somebody was in our room.
The hawk stops. The hawk stops his eating, and his eyes narrow, raising a brow as he looks at you.
It looked like they'd forced the door open, and my mother and sister's beds had been messed with a little. We didn't even pick it up until we were in there.
I mean, from the description you got, Merrick, it didn't look like somebody, it looked like somebody forced the door open because somebody did kick the door open. Also, like you said, they messed the beds a little. He said they tossed the beds. Those are details that you should convey properly.
All right, then I'll try that again. Someone was in our room. They kicked the door open, and my mother and sister's beds had been tossed.
I suppose what do they call those actually, inquisitors? Whatever, you know who I mean. It sounds like the fucker from the capital has already started tracing our friends. There's at Erda.
It's not tracing me at the moment. You can see she's kind of breathing a sigh of relief. He actually just went out of town.
True, but why would they go looking through their beds?
He is or not he. It is a witch hunter. Yes, witches are female. What is your family?
Shit.
Neither of them are actually witches. I'm just explaining why he did what he did. Actually, they wouldn't bother to say it, whatever. But word. That said, it is still highly problematic that the Inquisitor, Witch Hunter, whatever that fucker's title is,
The Inspector.
Was that an in-character voice?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
I got a joke. Sorry.
It's okay. I'm gonna have to ask that you guys stop making jokes like these, though. Like, they keep derailing my train of thought. Okay, there we go. The bottom line is, whoever it is already on your trail, booked to Erda. I don't know why he went out of town. Hopefully, it's because he picked up on one of the Skaven. I don't know how those operate. I just know that I hate witch hunters.
You know, I feel like you'd be the kind of person that likes witch hunters.
He sighs.
I mean, at the end of the day, they're just trying to uphold peace and justice. Even if
There.
through
Peace.
morally ambiguous. Yeah.
That, what you just said there, that is why I hate them. They don't follow a strict moral code. They all follow their own ethics. Also, sure, I'm a cleric. I'm a cleric of Tia. Our tenets are not exactly what you would think, I suppose. What we follow operates under the basic principle that all life is sacred unless it is actively seeking to harm other life. What do witch hunters, by their very definition, do?
Fair point.
Granted, witches by their nature are evil, so it's typically more of a gray area, but all of the witch hunters I have encountered have been outside of that potential gray area, and that their zealous nature has blinded them to the possibility that not all witches are evil. Not all things touched by chaos are inherently evil. They are different. And because they are different, that ultimately makes them afraid, and they are seeking to assuage their fears by killing the different. And I hate them for it.
Bird gives you tiny mouse claps. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
As do I.
Well, I suppose we better come up with a new plan of action then, because it sounds like everything is very quickly unraveling, though.
Well, it seems as though our new plan should be to make a beeline for Kavzar in the morning, or perhaps even head. No, we should just head out tonight. The more time we give the tour party to acclimate to Toboro, the worse off we are. We could tell your family we're going to look for May, when in fact we're going to go look for your husband and try and spirit him out of Kavzar. Then, I don't know, get on that boat.
That doesn't seem like the most feasible option.
We need to get out of this town. The idea to get out of this town was to get his family, points to Zephyr, on that boat before we knew that boat was the king's boat. Mostly we should go acquire your husband and then decide how to leave the Kavzar area as quickly as possible after that.
She gives you a nod. I think that is a great spot.